Hello folks, back once again for another video. Today we're going to be talking about some strings. Now I've been kind of a string and pick connoisseur. For those of you that know me, I'm very picky about the strings I use, very picky about the picks I use. No pun intended there. But I've recently been on the prowl for some more strings, not necessarily for my Breedlove, because I'm pretty satisfied with Elixirs, but for my Martin, as you might be able to see over here. This is my Martin DCX1E. I've had it for about 5 or 6 years now, I think. And I've been putting Elixirs on those for years. And the problem with that is they're just too expensive for something that I hardly ever use anymore. I use this guitar mainly for practice and for working with students, practicing, doing private lessons with students. So I don't really take it on the road with me or anything like that, so to speak. It's more of a backup guitar. This, the Breedlove DR Deluxe Revival series, this is my main guitar. And I pretty much want to stick with the best strings I can find. And for me, that's still Elixirs. But I want to talk about a company today that recently was kind enough to send me some samples. And that is a company by the name of Stringjoy. Okay, hope you can see that. This company is based out of Nashville, Tennessee, and they sent me a sample pack of different strings for acoustic and for electric. Now, I haven't put the electric guitar strings on yet. I'm going to put those on my blue Stratocaster because those haven't been changed in over a year, and that needs to be done. So these guitar strings are the natural, and that is the bronze that it's talking about. The natural bronze is their version of Phosphor Bronze. And we'll go over a little bit about what that means maybe here in a little bit when I show you some of the stuff on their website. I use medium strings on both of my guitars. However, what's very interesting about this is that it's the same gauge as the string that I'm used to, but the bottom two strings feel a little bit lighter in gauge. And that makes me want to experiment with some more bluegrass style string gauges. Mainly bluegrass is mediums on top and lights on the bottom. And one thing I found out that really helped lessen some finger cramps and hand cramps is that it's a whole lot easier to make bar chords with the strings on the bottom being lighter. So that's really something very nice. Also, seems like they're a little bit snappier, and they're definitely easier to bend. Now, even though these say that this is 13 and 17, just like a regular string would be for medium gauge, these feel, like I said, a little bit lighter, a little bit slinkier, so to speak. And I'm kind of digging that. I'm kind of really liking that. So Elixir has a set called HD Light. They made specifically for Taylor, and that's basically their bluegrass style of gauge set. And some other people have bluegrass style gauges. But Stringjoy, they sent me these, and I put them on, and they've only been on since, let's see, only about 3 days. Now, this video may come out a little bit later. I'm not exactly sure when this video is going to come out, but these strings have only been on for 3 days right now. On the back, it gives you a little note. It says, this set of guitar strings was inspected, coiled, packaged, and wound by real human hands in the USA, out of all American materials. So if you like buying in the USA, if you like supporting the country, these are USA made. Higher quality strings mean better tone, playability, and tuning stability with significantly longer life. Gauges look a little different. Our sets use balanced gauges for smooth, even tension across the entire fretboard. Okay, so one of their deals is that they tend to use balanced tension. Now, there's some videos on their websites. I've never really experimented with that and never really heard of that before. But apparently, I think they said the second and maybe the fourth string or something like that on regular tension strings aren't very balanced with tension across the neck. So you can tell a difference when you play one string to the next that the tension changes. Now, I've never really delved that deep into that. Like I said, you can look at their website for a little bit more information. Also, it says it's got a little badge here on the bottom. 5% of our net profits go to fund music education programs. That's really good if you want to support a cause. And when you open the box, it says your guitar is about to sound and play better than ever. Are you excited yet? I like their packaging. Very nice, very, it doesn't say cheap to me at all. It says here on the sides too, we are always here to help. Support at stringjoy.com. It says it on both sides of the flap. And they seem like that's one of their biggest things, is that they want to help the customer. And they even have a guarantee on their website that if the string breaks early, that they will replace it. No problems, no questions asked. So they seem very customer friendly. They want to reach out, and this is one of the companies, a few companies, you might consider this a boutique string company, and that is because they kind of tailor to the customer a little bit more. You can actually order custom string sets in your preferred gauge, and they can work with you to figure out which string gauge works the best for you. And on the video, the founder and the owner, I think his name was Scott. I may be wrong on that. But he said on the video, one of the videos, that the lowest string gauge set he ever manufactured was for drop D, below drop D. Okay, so a whole octave below drop D. So that's pretty amazing. They do acoustic, electric, and bass strings. So they also even sent me a nice little, package here. I don't know what you would call it, but they sent me a few extra things. They sent me a little sticker for, guitar cases or whatever. They sent me a button that I can put like maybe on my strap or whatever. That's pretty cool. And they sent a personal note here, Stringjoy Guitar Strings, Nashville, Tennessee. It says, "Hey you, yeah, you. First of all, thanks for playing our strings. They were handmade with love and care, and we're glad they found their way to a player like yourself. Thanks for supporting a small independent company. Our aim is to make the best strings you've ever played, and we hope our quality speaks for itself. We want to be the best company you ever work with. If there's anything at all we can help you with, don't hesitate to reach out. You can always find us at support@stringjoy.com. I hope you love these strings. Rock on, Eric." And then his little signature there. I'm not sure exactly who this was, because there's several people that I talked to, but we can probably find out on the website when we get to that point. So without any further ado, what I'm going to do is, these are my initial impressions of the strings. This is not a review yet. I'll probably come back and do a review when I'm ready to change these strings. But I'm going to use 3 different picks that are my go-to picks, okay? So for the longest, I've been using Dragon's Art guitar picks, and my preferred pick of theirs is the Pure pick, okay? And that's what I've been using for a couple years now. And I've recently been experimenting with the Blue Chip again, trying to play around with that a little bit, and also the V-pick, traditional light pick. I found that it has a very similar tone to the Blue Chip, with just a little bit of pick noise for a little bit more of an authentic flavor, if you will. So I'm going to use those 3 picks on these same strings so that you can hear the difference. And I'm also going to do the same thing with my Martin. That's why it's sitting over here, because these are strung up with Elixir medium Phosphor Bronze gauge strings, which is what my normal string is. So that you can hear the difference between these 2 sets of strings. Yes, it's going to be on a different set of guitars, but you'll still be able to hear the sheen of one string over another, or any extra things like that will happen. I'm also actually, for one of the few times, I decided to do this justice, and I'm using my EV Cobalt 4 instrument mics, and I'm going to probably have to tweak in the edits, probably have to tweak the sound, because you may or may not hear a lot of string squeaking and things like that, because this is a very hot mic. Very inexpensive mic. I got them years ago. Buy one get one free. I think both of them are like $60, and I've used this to record my entire album that I'm working on right now. You can check that out at ericbeatty.com/music for more details on that. So without further ado, I'm going to use these 3 picks and just play a little bit. Don't want to make this too long of a video, because it's not really a review. It's more of an initial impressions type thing. And then we'll go to the website and talk a little bit more about Stringjoy, okay? So let's start off with the Blue Chip pick. My Blue Chip pick of choice is the TP50. It is a tri-point, okay? So, and 50 is the gauge. It's probably about 1.5 gauge. Okay, so this is brand new, by the way. I just opened this up not too long ago. have the Dragon's Heart guitar pick, pure guitar pick. So looks like that. Okay. Same song, Unclouded Day. Now that is the standard side. Let me flip that around and do the pointed side of that pick. For this pick anyway, this has a little bit more of a mellow sound on this pointy edge, which you would think it would be brighter, but no, it's not. It's actually a little bit more mellow and kind of similar to the blue chip pick in tone a little bit. Now let's move on to the V-Pick Traditional Light. Okay, that's probably, from the feel of it, it's just a tad bit thicker than the blue chip, but it has a beveled edge all the way around so that it feels like a thinner pick when you're playing, just a little bit. So this is probably a 1, maybe a 2 millimeter. Okay, but it still feels nice and controllable. Now what I want you to pay attention to is the pick noise. Okay, that's very important. That's it. Of the pick landing on the string. Okay, so that's what we're listening for, right? So here's back to the V-chip, the V-pick. All right, same thing. Okay, so let me strum just a little bit with a V-pick and with a blue chip, and maybe you can hear the pick noise difference. And the blue chip. Okay, so sounds pretty good. It has a nice worn-in tone. However, in my opinion, it's not bright enough for me. It seems like the very top string has almost but nearly died, and that's with all 3 picks. I mean, almost sounds like a plastic string to me because it doesn't have that brightness. And I'll show you what I mean when we get to the Martin over here. I don't know, there's just something about it. It sounds a little dead, even though it's ringing out. It's almost too warm, okay? And I would think Phosphor Bronze, from my experience anyway, Phosphor Bronze seems a little bit brighter. Now they say it's supposed to be warmer than 80/20 Bronze, which I've not found that. in my experience. It's usually brighter for me. Okay, so let's see the sustain in that without, you know, just with the pick and the open E string. Good amount of sustain. Just a little bit less with that one. I mean, that to me that would take getting used to. I don't know. It don't sound as bright as it's snappy and punchy as what I would like. I'm not saying that these are bad strings, and it may just be my personal preference. It's something that you would have to definitely try on your own and decide if it's something right for you. I would definitely recommend them. I mean, you can work with them. They'll help you with string gauges. They're kind of a custom string gauge shop. They're about the same price range as Elixirs. I think one pack of acoustic and or electric strings run about $14.95 retail, something like that. And if these last a good while, then yeah, I'm going to be very pleased with them. One thing I will say is that I like the fact that they're not very squeaky. I noticed that the windings are very thin. It doesn't seem like they're really big and bulky and they catch my fingers when I'm sliding too much. Now on the lower strings, they kind of catch a little bit. I can't really complain about that because that's an uncoated string. It's not coated at all. I have been actually treating these strings with a solution called String Life. Now this came out, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, and the bottle is at least that old. I've only got a little bit of it left, so hopefully the material there isn't wearing my strings out. I don't think it is. Stringjoy actually makes their own string cleaner that's similar to this. It's not necessarily a polymer from what I'm hearing, but it's something that cleans and enhances the life of your string and the tone. DR Strings also uses something called String Life. I think they bought the brand that was using it before, and it's supposed to act as a coating. You leave it overnight, and it's supposed to coat your strings with a liquid polymer. Now I'm not sure if the Stringjoy brand does the same thing or not, but if I get another bottle of it, I'll definitely probably try the Stringjoy's version. So let's go over here to the Martin and see the difference between these strings, which I don't really have a whole lot bad to say about them, other than the fact that top string just doesn't seem as brilliant as what I would expect it to be from a set of Phosphor Bronze. So, once again, the low string, and the chord, and it maybe an E minor. I don't know, it just sounds maybe more like a gypsy guitar instead of a bluegrass sound of the low E string. So let's move on to the Martin guitar and see the difference between these strings and a set of Elixir strings. Okay, so that was the Elixir strings, Nano Web Phosphor Bronze medium gauge. These have been on here since about August the 10th. So depending on when this video came out, right now that's about, let's see, 2 months old. And listen to the top E string. To me, that still retains its brilliance. That's one of to me, the main flaws with the Stringjoy brand is that it mellows out a little bit too much. Now, I'm not going to say it's dead because the rest of the strings seem well balanced tone-wise, and they do keep their tune very well. I didn't have to really touch it this morning at all. But for me, I prefer a brighter sounding top string. I mean, that's punchy to me versus the other sound. And overall, this set of strings is a little bit brighter. Now, their take on coated strings is that yes, they may last a little bit longer, but they don't hold their tone as well. I think that depends on the manufacturer. For me, Elixirs hold their tone very well. I just recently replaced the strings with Stringjoy on my Breedlove, and those strings had been on there since May, and I replaced those October the 13th. So May, June, July, August, September, October, almost 5 months. And it was really about, you know, right at 4 months that I was noticing the tone was starting to come down a little bit on Elixirs. Now, me and the Gilbert family, we've been around playing churches this year, and we play about 60 shows a year. We practice usually once a week, unless we've got a bunch of bookings, and that serves as kind of our practice, so we don't need to practice much. I play at my home church. I use that for bluegrass band lessons when I go to teach private lessons, and that's usually on Wednesdays, so I put them through their paces. And these strings still, not this guitar particularly, but the other guitar, they were still just as bright as the day I bought them, pretty much. It only takes them a couple days to mellow in, but when they mellow, they don't completely lose their tone. For me, the Stringjoys lose the tone that I prefer. I'm not saying that they lose their tone completely. I don't want to give them a bad name or anything like that. But your preference may be different. And that's the point. You have to try it to see if that's something you like. For me, I prefer a brighter, low E string. And I used the same pick that I used before I switched, which was the Dragon's Heart Pure. Now let's go to the V pick, see what that sounds like, the Elixir sound like with a V pick. And the blue chip pick. Okay, so once again, I'll play strumming with the blue chip pick and the V pick, and maybe you can hear the pick noise. It's not as much of an aggravation. That's not the kind of pick noise I'm talking about. I'm talking about the authentic tortoiseshell sound that most players love. It's that, the best way I can describe it is floppy. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. Maybe I can do it without chords. And then the V pick. And the Dragon's Heart Pure standard point. I don't know. Once you play the blue chip and you play another pick, you'll see what I'm talking about. There's something about the blue chip that has that nice raking sound without being offensive. Okay. Okay, so that's it for this particular video, in the sense that, listen to what they sound like. I'm going to switch over to the actual website for just a couple minutes here, and we can see exactly what's involved in the website. Okay, so we now have the website here pulled up. It's at www.stringjoy.com, and this is their main page. You can kind of scroll down. It says your new favorite guitar strings, carefully crafted for quality, lasting tone, perfectly balanced, infinitely customizable, so you can sound more like, you know, you. And one thing about the video that I noticed, one of the videos here, is that he said they did the math, and there was like 53 either trillion or billion different combinations of string gauges you could mix and match. That's how customizable you can get with Stringjoy. That's one of the things that I really like about them, is that you can work with them and find what works for you. Now, why would you want to switch your string gauges around? Well, here's a perfect example. Paul Gilbert, one of the best shred guitar players on the planet, one of the best guitar players, period, on the planet, talks about when he goes on tour. And he says that a lot of times he uses, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he uses either 9s or 10s. And sometimes, after a long amount of shows, his fingers get fatigued. So what he'll do is he goes around and actually takes different packs of strings, like he'll use 8s and mix that with some 9s so that he can have some amazing bends without hurting his hands. So that's what you might do with string gauges, is if you play a lot and you tour a lot, you may want a string gauge specifically for less fatigue in your fingers, okay? So let's go down here. The difference, you've got several different things. They have long-lasting tone, the wrapped wire composition, and core-to-core ratios, core-to-cover ratios we use ensure our guitar strings break in evenly and hold their tone throughout their lifespan. Now, like I said, the low E string to me sounds a little dull, but the rest of them sound okay. I mean, I'm very impressed with these strings, and I can't wait to see how long they last before I can't handle the dullness, okay? So we'll see exactly what they sound like. And one thing that really is a sign for me that I want to change strings is if I have to really pluck hard to hear what I'm doing, even with monitors, especially on the low strings, then I know it's time to change my strings. Another sure sign is if they don't hold their tune very well. Elixirs, sometimes when they start losing their tonality and ability to hold intonation, I know it's time to change my strings. And that's with just about any string, okay? So they have tension balanced here. Now I'm not going to read all these. You can go through this. Tension balanced, crafted with care, handmade, made in the USA, 100% guaranteed. Now here's their guarantee. If you're not completely satisfied with your guitar or bass strings for any reason, simply return them to us for a replacement or refund. No fine print, no hassle. We've got you covered. That's an awesome guarantee, okay? And then $5 for a cause. We donate 5%, not $5, excuse me, 5%. We donate 5% of our annual net profits to support music education programs, whether that's sponsoring after school lessons or giving equipment to schools that need it. Love that. They're for a good cause. What do our strings sound like? Okay, you can click this video and watch that. The manifesto, what these strings are about. Okay, real guitars, electric guitar strings, bass guitar strings, acoustic guitar strings. Here's their trust spot, 4.9 out of 5 stars, and you can see all the reviews there. You can talk to them, you can contact them, you can find them on YouTube and Facebook, and it's a secure 100% website, 100% guarantee. You can go to their YouTube page and check out all their cool little videos that they have. So let's just open a few links here. Let's go to the acoustic guitar strings. I'm opening that in a new tab. Okay, now up here at the top as well, you can check out, they've got different kinds of picks that you can check out, different kinds of accessories. I'm going to open this in a new tab. This is the natural string conditioner. I'm going to do the conditioner and cloth bundle. They've got t-shirts, koozies, gift cards. They've got a blog about their team. Let's see, we can go to About Us. If you have an account with them for ordering, and their different strings, okay? So let's just go to a few of these. We're going to start with acoustic guitar strings, and why not pull up electric strings as well. Natural bronze, bright bronze, okay? 6-string sets, that's what I'm interested in. You have all these different kinds of strings, 12 strings, single string. You can even order single strings if you need those. So 6-string sets for that. Okay, so let's try that, the acoustic guitar strings. Okay, so we have natural bronze, bright brass. This is phosphor. This is the ones that I have. And they'll have a stamp that says natural up here, or it'll say bright up here on their little stamp. Okay, so these are the only two they offer right now. As far as I know, they don't have a nickel-plated alloy, kind of like the Monel strings that Martin uses. Let's go to the natural bronze. This is the ones that I use. Okay, so we have different gauges here. And what they recommend is that you start with a gauge that's already balanced. These are all balanced. You start with a gauge that you're used to, and if you want to, you can start tweaking the gauges from there. They even do like half gauges instead of for electric guitar strings. Instead of 9s, they do 9.5. So it's really interesting to see what they can do with these strings. Okay, so I had the medium. Now notice it says natural here. Okay, I use medium strings. That's 13 to 56. Light for them is 12 to 54. Now usually it's 12 to 53, so you get an extra little bit of thump on that low end, which I like. So, and you can see the price is $14.90. Very comparable and similar to Elixirs. Now it's got a second page here. You got custom, you can make your own gauge, okay? And you can order singles. And here is a 12-string set for $21.90. So let's go back and choose the mediums, which I ordered, okay? Okay, so That's the packaging. That's what it looks like. And it'll say natural right there. And there's your gauges and medium. And the medium pack, the color is particularly white with a blue ring. Okay, so we've got the different packaging, options there, and there it is on the back, what I just read to you. All right, so let's look a little bit about this. The core material is high carbon steel. It's a hexagonal core shape. Wrap material is copper, tin, and phosphorus. And then the wrap shape is round wound. So these are round steel guitar strings. Sounds like woody, warm, natural, and rounded. Okay, to me it's a little too warm. All right, so it says our medium gauge set is the go-to string for players who want a big, warm, beefy tone out of the guitar that will project with plenty of volume and definition. Pair that with the powerful low end of our natural bronze strings, and you've basically wrapped yourself up in a blanket of tone so warm you could sleep outside the Alaskan wilderness in the middle of winter. Take that, hypothermia. Natural bronze is our take on phosphor bronze, which is great at bringing out the authentic woody characteristics of an acoustic guitar. It's this rich copper alloy that gives these strings a distinctly warm, resonant tone. The strings also have a rose gold color, so beautiful you'll want to order an extra set just to frame and hang on the wall. And I will say that is particularly a big characteristic of phosphor bronze strings. They have like that rose gold color. 80/20 bronze have just a plain gold color, probably the same color as the ball end here. It's very goldish looking. That's one good way to visually tell the difference. As an added bonus, component agents in this alloy make these strings especially resistant to corrosion, meaning your strings will sound better longer. Who wouldn't like that? Now, this is what I'm wondering, since my string life bottle is so old, I'm hoping I haven't messed up any of these component agents resisting them to corrosion. I don't think I have, because I have a feeling that it's probably the material, the polymer in that string life bottle is still going to be just fine. It shouldn't hurt any alloy or anything like that, any agents or anything like that. It should still be resistant to corrosion. Okay, so and at the bottom here you can see the different reviews. Okay, so you can look at some of these reviews. This guy's review is very good. You can look at the description. You can see what the press is saying about it. You can see the shipping, and here's some more reviews on the bottom. And at the very bottom, that's all that is. Free shipping, orders over, let's see. Looks like it says order over $8, I think. So, I mean, basically every string you buy, when you buy strings, a pack of strings, that's free shipping right there, because that's $14 and something. Okay, so that's their natural bronze is their take on the phosphor bronze, okay? And it says something else about natural bronze. I can't remember that there's another link to it, but maybe I'll find it as we scroll along here. So, electric guitar strings, okay? I use 9s, so that would be super lights, and those are $11.90. So I had that wrong. I thought those were a little bit more expensive. Okay, so I haven't tried these yet. I'll be interested. I'm not as worried about my electric guitar strings as I am my acoustic strings. I don't do coated electric guitar strings. To me, that's a waste of money because I don't change them that often. I can leave a thing of strings on there for a year and be fine. That's just me. I don't play live, and I play, if I'm playing an album, yes, I'll change my strings. For the most part, it doesn't worry me. So I use normally Ernie Ball strings, Super Slinkies, and Dunlop strings. I like Dunlops very well. And I can't wait to try these Stringjoy ones out and see what they are comparatively. Okay, so these are 9-42s. And once again, you can see the packaging. These might look like a typical set of 9s, super lights or extra lights. Everyone seems to call them something different, and that's true. But trust me, they're not. The standard for 9s is typically 9, 11, 16, 24, 32, 42. And while the gauges on the bottom end are solid, the top is all kinds of messed up. Why some other companies make them that way, I honestly couldn't tell you, but never fear, we fixed all that for you. This is where the balance comes in, okay? So it's not 9, 11, 16, it's 9, 12, 15, okay? So that balances the tension of the neck. And to me, now I could be wrong, but I just had this little insight here. When you have balanced tension and no one string is pulling too much tension off the other strings, on the neck and on the guitar, the tuning stability will be a lot greater. It will be a lot better and more in tune because the balance is equal. There's no one string pulling too much or being too loose and throwing everything else off. This may be one of the biggest, I haven't experimented with this, but this may be a good solution to the dreaded B string intonation. Everybody that plays guitar knows the B string is notorious for never being in tune correctly, even when you play a chord, especially a G or a D. The B string is just absolutely a nightmare to stay in tune, even with compensated saddles, okay? So this may actually help with that. It would be awesome to see if that is the case. See, this issue on most sets is that the 11 has far too little tension to balance with the 9, and the 16 has far too much tension. So with our balanced 9s, we fix all that by using a 12 and a 15 instead. The result is a set of strings that plays very evenly across the entire fretboard and intonates better when set up properly. There it is. Before I even read that, it kind of confirmed what I just said. If you're typically a 9s player, these are definitely the way to go. And I haven't even noticed that, but yes, my pack of 9s are 9, 12, and 15. Can't wait to try those out. High carbon steel, hexagonal, and a nickel alloy for the wrap material, and these are round wounds. These are warm, full, balanced, and well-rounded. And it says you can adjust defaults below if needed or add to cart to purchase as is. Wondering what P and W stand for? String length questions, click here to expand. Let's see what that stands for. The P's and W's, all gauges lighter than 18 are plain steel. All heavier than 26 are nickel wound. On gauges where we overlap, a P signifies plain steel and a W signifies a wound string. So if you see a 20W, that's a wound string, a 20P is a plain string. If it doesn't have either letter, we only offer it as a wound string. If it's heavier than 26 or plain steel string, it's lighter than 18. Got it? Good. Okay. So a lot of times he says that some players prefer playing the G string, that would be the 3rd string, with a non-wound set, with a plain. Okay, so I'm not sure exactly if this is wound or not. String forward wound, or you can change that to something else. Look at all these different gauges you can customize it with. You can make it plain. So let's say if string 3, that's the G string, check this out. All gauges lighter than 18 are plain steel. Okay, so that is plain steel because it's lighter. So it's not going to be wound. You can't get it wound. So their 3rd string is going to be wound. Their 4th string begins wound, or you can make it plain. But this is let you know the rest of these from here down are wound strings. Then you can fix the way you want them and then add it to cart. And so that's amazing, all the customizability you can do with this. So, and you go down here and guess what? There's more video reviews on this particular because this is a electric guitar set. All right, so moving on, here is the natural Stringjoy conditioner. It says natural, and if you'll look at the little label here, it says it cleans, protects, and extends string lifespan. Eco-safe, non-toxic, biodegradable, soy-based formula with organic rust inhibitor made from cold-pressed cranberries. So your guitar strings will play and sound and smell awesome. Before and after playing, apply conditioner directly to your strings, then wipe off with a clean cloth. Now, I mentioned something about DR strings a while ago. So if I go to DR String Life and type that in, it's very similar to this, okay? And I'll just go to the Musician's Friend variation here. Working, we'll go to that one. Okay, so DR String Life Liquid Polymer, $10. This is what it looks like. You click on here, okay? It says, protect your strings, reduce breakage, extend life of strings, enhance your tone. To strengthen your strings, apply and allow String Life to molecularly bond with strings for 24 hours. Wipe with a dry cloth. Okay, so if you wanted to bond molecularly, like kind of a cheap way to do your own string coating, you'll leave it for 24 hours. If you want to do it quickly, you apply directly to the strings and frets using the built-in applicator, and then you buff lightly with a clean cloth. Now this is usually before and after you're playing, which is what I've been doing with this non-coated set of Stringjoys. Now the thing about this is, and it makes a good point over here, and we'll get to that when we read this. It says, let's see here, this bundle, you get the cloth and the string conditioner. Just because our conditioner is all natural doesn't mean you should underestimate it. This little bottle packs a punch. Okay, so apply our natural string conditioner to your strings, wipe it off with a clean cloth, and it will vastly extend string lifespan. It'll even restore some of the smoothness and sparkle to strings that are already past their prime. Other string cleaners, now here's the point, are filled with warnings. Do not get in eyes. Wash hands immediately after use. Do not take internally. Keep away from children. Do not use near fire or flame. Okay? Things like that, stuff like that. Is that really something you want to see on a product that will be touching your fingers for hours? We didn't think so. That's why our string conditioner is eco-safe, non-toxic, and biodegradable with an organic rust inhibitor made from cold-pressed cranberries. Seriously, this stuff is as good as it gets. Now notice, it's a little bit more expensive. If you get the cloth bundle, you get the cloth and the conditioner for $14.90. Now, if I just wanted the conditioner, it would be $13.90. So for $1 more, you get the cloth. I'm not a big deal if I have to have the cloth or not. So let me go back to the one that I had so that it'll have the same description. Okay, one bottle will last you a long time too. We're not even through our test bottle of the final formulation and we've been using it for ages. Trust me, they are right on this. I've had that same bottle for years. Now, I haven't used it completely every time I play guitar, but they do last a long time. Just give yourself a few minutes to get used to the feel. You'll come to love how juicy and alive your strings will feel under your fingers because they'll be a little bit slicker. Then apply it regularly after you play guitar and get used to forgetting how long it's been since you last changed your strings. To me, this is worth it if I can put an application on the guitar and make the strings last a bit longer. Not necessarily for my Breedlove, like I said, but for my Martin guitar, that's worth it to me to apply a string conditioner every time I use my strings so that I don't have to pay for Elixir strings for a guitar that I'm not going to use a lot. To me, that's kind of like a waste of money. Okay, so that was this. And the last thing about us, all right? So make music, not war. So why make better guitar strings? Hi, I'm Scott. So his name was Scott. Stringjoy is my company. Well, it used to be my company, but I'll get back to that. And then this is a long thing, so I'm not going to read all this, but you can definitely go to their website, check that about the team, about us, and check this out a little bit. What I'm going to do is go ahead and call this video complete and done. And so thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I will come back and do an official review of the Stringjoy strings when they kind of wear out enough for me and I'm ready to change my strings. And I've got good news. I've got several more topics to discuss on some future videos. I've got some more strings I've ordered, and I found one or two more other string companies that I want to try. I've used to try them a while back, and I want to see as the years have went by if they've gotten any better on their string manufacturing. So I'm interested in trying some more strings. Over a period of time, we'll see that happening. I've also found a new guitar pick that I'm really excited to play, more for electric than acoustic. The one that I use for my electric and I have been using for a while and have kind of stuck with is the John Petrucci Jazz picks. Okay, that's the Petrucci signature model, and it's a little bit bigger than the regular Jazz pick, and I like that because the small ones I just can't get a hold of, and it really hurts my hand to kind of grip those. Now they're good for practice and for articulation and accuracy because they really force you to choke up on the pick and get that accuracy out. But when I got used to that, it was time to switch. So I started using the John Petrucci signature picks from Dunlop. And these new picks that are coming are a very neat design, and they kind of solve some other problems with picks, and they have that jazz kind of size, but a little bit bigger. So I'm excited to get into that. That will be coming down the line as well. So for now, this is the video of my first impressions of the company Stringjoy. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll go ahead and sign off and say we'll see you on the next video, whatever that may be. God bless, and keep playing.